Hey everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at our Thule HideAway Awning for your cars, SUVs, and motorhomes here on your 2011 GMC Yukon. So I'm here at our campsite here at eTrailer with my friends. We're having a nice picnic today, and it's great that we can just set up our awning. We have it attached to our car right now on the roof rack, so we just crank it out, set it up, have a picnic, and when we're done and our lunch break is over, we can just crank it back down. So this is a great awning that you might want to consider if you're interested in getting a bunch of different attachments. Since you have a bunch of different ways you can accessorize this awning, you might want to check out this video and see if it's the right fit for you. So we had a really good picnic out here. What did you think of the awning though?
I actually really enjoyed it. What's really nice is that the car itself blocks a lot of the wind, but at the same time there's a little bit of wind that comes up underneath it, so it makes it nice and refreshing during the lunch.
That's nice. Yeah, I really thought it was refreshing too. How about you, Jonathan? What did you think about it?
I mean, even on nice days it can get pretty hot when you're in direct sunlight, but this awning just makes all the difference in the world.
Because we got the wind and we get the fresh air, but not the heat.
Yes.
Yeah, I
it's
thought so
nice
too.
and open, so have a nice breeze that's just keeping us cool.
Yeah. Nice. So my friends went back to work so that we could take a closer look here at our awning. So first off, this awning comes in different configurations. So you can have them in different sizes depending on your vehicle as well as your application. So you can get in small or medium with sizes like 55 square feet or 80 square feet when it comes to the awning coverage. This also has a bunch of different accessories that you can use with the HideAway awning. So you can get additional panels, so whether they be sun blockers, rain blockers, or even your quick fit rooms to create basically a room underneath your awning, you can get those added. You also have different options for mounting it. So whether you have a Sprinter van and you need it roof mounted, or whether you have wall mounted option, or in our case a roof rack mounting option, there are different options for you. So hopefully this video will help you out, because this is just going to focus on the general purpose of the awning. No matter where or what you attach it to, this is the HideAway awning. So we'll take some measurements just to see how much space this takes up on your crossbars. Now this will depend on whether you have the T-track crossbars or if you have the clamp around process, which we have right here. So first, for the height added to the top of your crossbars, from the top of the crossbars to the top of the awning, it sits at about 6 inches. Now for the amount of space it takes up, so that's going to be from the end of this locking bracket to the end of the awning itself. It's about 7 5/8 inches. So your awning is going to come with 2 pieces. You're going to have the awning itself, you're going to get this rod to open it, and you're going to get 4 stakes. That's all you need. So once you have your awning installed, you just pop this underneath that awning, just get that into place, and then start rotating it in order to extend that awning out. Alright, this might be tricky at first depending on how you hold it, because it will be tempted to pop out. So just make sure you have it at an angle and you hold it right by that handle and then rotate it cautiously. So then once you have it about 2 feet out, you're then going to extend the legs. That way you have a little bit of support once you release it. So we have 2 legs right over in here. They're held in by little tabs, so you just need to pull them out of those tabs and then pivot it downwards. So then with the arms extended, you have this little knob, so just loosen that knob just a little bit. That way you can release the legs at the bottom and make sure that your foot is extended downwards as well for the ground. So bring the arms out at an angle and then continue extending the awning. As you move your awning out, you may need to adjust your legs, so just loosen them while you support the awning. That way, if you do need that maximum length, you can adjust accordingly. Once you have your awning where you want it, you can either stake this down right away, or you can get the additional strap kit, which is going to go to the side. That way you have 4 points that are staked down. So just get this and then get a mallet and hammer that down. So the arms are an all aluminum construction. So that means it's both lightweight but also corrosion resistant. So even if you have it out in the sun or you have it out in the rain and you get moisture on it, you don't have to worry about it corroding on you. So this has an interesting tensioning system. So we do have these spring-loaded tension arms, and these are holding the awning out and in place. So even though we've had some gusts of wind up here on the hill here at eTrailer, I noticed that it really stayed sturdy throughout. Now this version, which we have on our Yukon right now, has a projection, which is how far out the awning comes, of 6.5 feet. Now this will change depending on your incline or the slope of where you are, how you have your arms or legs, but that's the general amount of space that you're gonna get. Now for the awning material, so the outside is made of a black material, so it's our hard case, so that's the cassette. So when it's folded up, you have a black or anthracite awning on your roof, but when you do extend it, it reveals this kind of a vinyl material, which is nice because then even if you have rain, it's gonna stay waterproof or water resistant and just allow that water to fall off the awning and not through. So this material is a little bit heavier than the lightweight canvas that I see on other types of awnings. So that has its pros and its cons. Its pros is that it is gonna handle the different weather changes. So whether it's raining or suddenly it's sunny, you're gonna be okay. Now the con will be it's just a little bit heavier, so you're just gonna have to account for that when you have it on your roof or out in the shade. So when it comes to the range of difficulty for bringing out awnings, I would say this is about medium. So your more premium awnings are actually electric or automatic, where you press a button and it shoots out. For this, it is technically a manual awning because you have this manual telescopic crank that you're going to use to crank out the awning. Still a lot easier than using pins, clips, levers, and tie downs though. So I think it's about medium when it comes to the ease of use. So we have the small awning with a 55 square foot awning here on our GMC Yukon vehicle. So I do see this being very useful for your larger SUVs, maybe your Sprinter vans, or even your motor homes. Now one thing about this is please make sure you get the right size as well as the right adapters, depending on whether you have a roof rack or you need it wall mounted, that will fit your situation. Now that we've taken a look at how our awning works and looks, let's take a look at the install process. So for the install process, this is going to depend on whether you have the Thule track rack, ladder rack. In that case, you don't need adapters. We're going to be installing these onto aftermarket roof crossbars. So we're going to get the adapters that go with this kit. So I have the adapters right now, and the first step is just to get these square bolts and then fit them into the tracks of your HideAway. So just slide them through, and you're going to want 8 bolts slid through those tracks. So next you're going to install your plate. So notice how we have 2 sides to this. What we want is we're going to get the one with the rectangular portion that's going to fit over your 4 bolts. So we're going to put it up just like this. Also make sure you have it facing the correct direction. That way you can pull it out after you have it installed on your crossbars. Once you have those brackets on there, you're going to get 4 flat washers and then 4 nuts for each bracket. So flat washer first, and then put the nut on top to secure it. Only loosely tighten this down because you're still going to need to move that plate around. So you do get this tool which you can use to tighten down those nuts, but I use my own socket and a wrench. So this is a 10mm socket that just makes it faster to tighten those bolts down. So just make sure you get them about halfway through before you go on to the next step. So before setting up our crossbars, first you need to make sure you have enough minimum crossbar spread. So what we have right now with our aftermarket crossbars is that they are set 37 inches apart. So just as an easy way to get it set up, I have these already moved 37 inches apart, center to center, and that's just a good guesstimate before I put them on the crossbars. So now we're gonna get this onto our crossbar. Since this is a bit of a taller vehicle, plus since this is a heavy awning, make sure you have you and your friend carrying each side of the awning. So we got Zach and Bobby right over here, and we're just gonna lift it onto the crossbars before we get it mounted down. So what I did is I put the first 2 clamps on first, just because you do have to hold it up while you clamp them down. And if you don't do it quickly, it can get tiring for the people helping you out as you do tighten down your clamps. But now you're gonna put 1, 2 on each bracket. So let's put them in there. Get the clamp underneath your crossbar, push the bolts up and then through the bracket. Then you're gonna get a flat washer and then a split washer. So put those on top of that bracket. That way you can tighten those bolts down. If you're not using a ratchet wrench and you're using a socket wrench instead, make sure it is kind of a deep well socket, just because that's a lot of bolt you need to get through. Once you have your clamps, or if you have a T-channel crossbar and you have those tightened down, next you're going to make sure that your awning is centered or where you want it to be on your crossbars. Then you're going to tighten down the bolts on the bracket that's behind the awning. While I'm up here, I would highly recommend picking up the Moki doorstep if you haven't already. I put this right into the hook where your door is, and this definitely gives you the height that you are going to need to tighten down all these brackets and all these bolts. I finally tightened all the bolts down. Now, there were a lot of them, especially if you have crossbars that don't have T-track channels. It is going to take you a while to tighten everything down. Please make sure you have the proper tools that will make this easier for you. And if you're good with drills, maybe put a socket on that drill and it's going to be so much faster that way. But all in all, once you have everything tightened down, you can then move on to the next step. Of course, when you do have an awning and after you put all that work to tightening it down, you're going to want to make sure no one else can untighten it without your permission. So what you're going to do is you're going to secure them with these locks. So you're going to get 2 lock cores, and you're going to insert those lock cores into these covers and then put them over your brackets. So get your lock core with the key inserted and then just fit it through that hole in the bracket. Line it up right there until it pushes through completely, and then turn it and then remove the key. Once your lock cores are installed, then make sure that it's in the unlocked position and slide it over your bracket. So just like that, push that through. Now, I actually tightened down our bolts all the way where it made it just a little bit too tall to fit that cover over the first time. So I did need to loosen it just a little bit, but once I did, we were able to fit right in there. Now do the same thing on the other side. Make sure you keep those keys. 1 key will access both covers, and then after that, that's about it for the install. So my final thoughts about how this awning worked with our car here is that since we do have a larger vehicle, the Yukon is definitely bigger than, let's say, your smaller compact SUVs. I think it was a really good fit. We were able to get hatch access as well as it fit well on our crossbars, and we still had space for more accessories if we wanted to. Now, with this being the small size, I do recommend getting the small version and maybe not the larger ones, just because you won't have as much space here on your Yukon, and those would fit larger vehicles better. So this works well. I do recommend checking out the quick fit rooms or the side panels just to get the most out of this awning. And that was a look here at our Thule HideAway Awning here on our 2011 GMC Yukon. So I hope that helped you out, and my name is Evangeline, and I hope you enjoyed the journey.